organizations and leveraging those connections, and as well as emphasize the vital importance of thorough market research and due diligence. And on top of all that, get ready to learn how to craft amazing financial projections that will make investors' hearts race with excitement. This event is sponsored to you by Fidgetal.wtf. All replays are available at furloughtv.com, and this session is originally streamed to a live audience every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, last but not least, don't forget to join our Discord community at discord.gg/furlough. So buckle up and get ready for an adrenaline-packed session with Erez Hevroni. Build in Public Radio starts now.
Man, with an intro so good like that, I don't even have to say anything. Joe did all the work for me. But either way, welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. Another Build in Public session by Furlough. We are running this live. You can find us everywhere right now, live on LinkedIn, YouTube. I mean, pretty much the Discord. Everywhere you want to find us, we're there. And I'm Brett Lucarelli. And today is a really, really special episode. And I always seem to say this every episode. It's like, we're getting all these guests and all these topics that I'm excited about, which is great. So, they're always a little bit self-serving for me. I get to ask questions, the burning questions that I have in the back of my mind. And of course, without further ado, it's not going to be just me today. Of course, I'm one of the people on screen here. You can see we've already got another camera on. As Joe mentioned, this is Mr. Erez Hevroni. Erez, what's up?
Happy hello, Brett.
Hey.
I'm excellent. I'm calling from Boca Raton, from my studio office here. So
awesome.
Super excited to be here.
I'm so jealous. I feel like I feel lazy sitting in a chair while I see you standing here, like standing on the stage, basically, with this cool background. So that's awesome to see, man. And of course, I don't have to do this alone, right? It's not just me and you. We have our wonderful, of course,
my friend,
one of the founders of Furlough here. It is Mr. Joe Casanova. You guys all know him.
Absolutely. Love to be here, and I'm super excited to have Erez. I mean, the first time of him and Ophir, just a quick little backstory of how we met. Ophir spoke so highly of you. And then when we met, we had a lunch that was supposed to be an hour. I think it went on for like 5 or 6 hours. It wouldn't leave.
Exactly.
And the waitress was like, "Can you guys leave? I'm trying to shift clocks." We just kept talking and chatting, and that was so early in what we were doing with Furlough. And then now, obviously, the landscape has changed in the world of raising funds. So I can't wait. I'm glad that we finally got you here, Erez, and super excited to introduce you to the community. I'm most excited, as you said, Brett, grab all this wisdom that he has, right?
Absolutely.
That's amazing. I want first to congratulate Joe and his amazing team and Ophir for building this beautiful community of like marketers and influencers and so much good content that you guys just put together in one place, and the energy and the execution on it. So I love that. I'm really, really glad to talk today about, I think, one of the most profound things that every entrepreneur or founder will want to, that will become to be a big challenge in his life, is how do I fund my amazing ideas, and how do I fund my companies in all different stages, and how I can do that. So looking forward to give you all this beautiful value today.
And before we do that, I think that it's worth mentioning here. Let's give a quick little intro and bio of what Erez has going on, because he's got a lot, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have like 47 pages of bio right here in front of me. I'm not going to read all 47 pages. I'm just going to pick a couple of things out of it that I think are really, really important. I mean, obviously, you can tell already, high energy and performance driven, wealth manager, exit planning advisor. And he's got this awesome record of just continued success over, a huge wide range of clients, like serial entrepreneurs, C-level executives, high-tech companies, mid-sized business owners. I mean, high net worth individuals, just like everyone all together. And, he's 15 years of experience working with large corporate banking institutions. I see Ophir, going to take some time. He's not wrong. What an intro. But, 15 years of experience, which is huge. And obviously with big names like Merrill Lynch and Wells Fargo, U.S. commercial banks in the tri-state area, Silicon Valley. I mean, again, it's like name dropping just constantly. But one of the things I really want to hit on, obviously, strong business development, sales, networking skills, but basically the results of that, which is $500 million in capital market and wealth advisory transactions, which is an incredible number. And I could not get past this bio without making sure I mentioned that 500 million. So we're super excited, man, to have you. I mean, again, there's so much stuff here. Definitely check out his LinkedIn. Let's make sure we drop that link on there, and you can catch a few more of this bio and stuff in here. But He's not a he's a walk the walk and talk the talk. You know, not just talking the talk, but he's definitely been here and walked the walk. So super excited to have you, man.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really glad to bring this value to this beautiful community, and I think this is one of the most important things that, especially in our time, to talk about today is like how do I raise capital more efficient?
Yep.
How do I take my idea and package it in a way that it's transform the crocodile brain, that will be in the investor mind and go directly into them and figure it out that this is something I should care or this is something I should not care about. And as we know today, most of the tech companies sending emails and sending a lot of different introductions and different calls from nowhere and position themselves from different sides that they don't understand why they don't get the attention. So
Right.
it's a big fight on the attention. Like, you guys are marketers and you're trying all the time to figure it out, the good strategies to get attention. With the investors is exactly the same, but in a different way. I go back and I'll give a little bit background about how I started in the
Definitely
business.
want that.
And it's interesting. I'm originally from Israel. Served in the Israeli military, was in a combat unit, did like mines and explosive, and I was a paramedic there, and always were passionate about people and helping people. And actually, my career started from being a therapist. I actually used to be a physical therapist after the army, went to
Nice.
study for that, and start working with people. And I think the neuroscience and the mind and working with people always mesmerized my passion and really to figure how they create their reality in all different aspects of their life. So from being a therapist and being able to listen to people and focusing on them, it basically took me to a whole different journey. I moved to the US in 2004. I have 4 kids and they all grew up in Princeton, New Jersey. And I took the time basically to make this merge into from the healthcare industry to the capital market, and from zero knowledge in the capital markets from being a physical therapist, I actually made a huge transition into Merrill Lynch. Went there, applied for this job, and finally I put myself, after I passed an exam of 5 hours in Merrill Lynch, to sit in front of this sharks in Merrill Lynch that basically looking at me, and I have right now to build a pitch for them to tell them why I'm their guy that's going to sit in this beautiful Cherrywood office and will be the next best wealth advisor in the company.
Right.
So it was a lot of training, and I read a lot of interesting books and how to position myself. And I came and I dressed so nice with a nice suit and everything, and I figured out it's a lot about neuroscience and how you project yourself to the world and what you say and how you take your message to the world in order to persuade someone to believe that this is what you're going to do for him, but you actually as well have to put practice into the game, because if not, you're out in 2 seconds. And in Merrill Lynch, for example, it was a very cutting throat environment. If you don't bring $2.5 million in few months, you're out. Yeah, so you have to execute and you have to figure it out, a way to bring the money in and convince investors that you are the guy that will protect their money. So I did a lot of work on figure out how to position myself, how to learn people, how to listen to people, and how to figure out how to take and package things together in order to raise the capital that I need. So from Merrill Lynch, I basically been like a wealth advisor pretty quickly. First year, I brought $15 million in production just from networking. It was a lot, being out in the community and talking to people and learning about people and learning about different businesses. And I started my career with helping pharmaceutical executives in Johnson & Johnson and Bristol Myers, and really figured out what's their problem and listen to them and help them to solve their issues. So at the end of the day, if you know how to package your ideas and really put and build trust with investors, all right, or with your clients, I believe it's a trust building art. All right, so how do you sell from a trust based selling? Okay, and at the end of the day is people look at you and they need to trust you when they give you their money. Or if you're right now a company, you're an AI company, and right now you need to go and ask from these venture capital funds, $10 million, all right, for your fund. You have to build trust that they say, this is the guy that I get certainty in him that he will go and execute. Okay, so it's all about building this relationship. So there's an art of building the relationship from a trust based, and there's a way also on taking what you do and break it down into a way so people can understand why they should care and how to execute it with you. So there's a whole training that I teach my founders, like I train like a good athletes. Yes, like if you have a good athlete that is going to go right now to the NBA. You have to train. You have to train his mind. You have to train his body. You have to train himself in the game. You have to train himself outside. The same thing with founders that want to be a badass CEOs and they want to go out there and raise capital. They have to train themselves ongoing on this skill. And what I found out is that we all very good technology people, and we all very good in good in marketing. We're maybe good in sales. We may be good in creating these products, but no one really take time to work on their capital raising skills, because at the end of the day, you can create the best technology in the world, but if you don't have funding coming in, all right, you'll die. All right. And I saw some wonderful, beautiful technology companies over the years. I really service, I would say, thousands of them, that came to me through different processes. And I saw pitch decks, and I saw different stages of companies, and I saw all different kind of personalities. And we can talk about personalities of CEOs and how we can really change their shift on how they think and how they talk. But at the end of the day, it's something that you have to work on. All right, it's like part of your skill, that if you are a CEO of a company, if you don't work on your capital raising skills, there will be a time that or you're gonna will be replaced, or even investors, they look at you, and if you know how to give a good pitch, all right, to them, they already give you another 20, 30, 40 points above as a CEO, all right? Because venture capital funds and investors understand that if you're a CEO that know how to raise capital, you will survive this path of being an entrepreneur. And if you didn't convince them in the first time and you didn't pass the screening in the first time, then you are missing the boat. We spoke with Joe about a company that he mentioned, and maybe we'll mention first. But there's some CEOs that I can go to the extreme, yeah? And I will give like Adam Newman, yeah, from WeWork, which maybe there's a lot of interesting thoughts about Adam Newman. But one thing about him is very passionate about how he create the businesses and the idea and how to position things, and sometimes passion and ability to interact and charm the investors and be out there really will bring a lot of point for you. He just recently raised another bunch of money from Andreessen and Horowitz just on the idea, all right? So this is to the extreme, someone who basically really build and focus on that and have that in him, this emotional intelligence factor, which I say this is something that it's built in me, but as well, it's something that you can develop, all right? So we want to talk about, there's a lot of subject that we can talk about in the capital raising, but this is just to start. So I'll open the floor for you guys for some questions.
Whew. It's a lot to unpack. I mean, so many questions.
So much value dropped already, man.
Yeah, there's so many things. Yeah, I if I can, I just want to take it right to the beginning just to get some clarity on Merrill Lynch and when you started as a wealth manager. So you were getting obviously people through networking, through day-to-days and through events and all this stuff that you're in mutuals. You were telling them, hey, raise your funds, and then you would invest it to like mutuals and index funds, or were you invest them into startups? Like when did that shift, I guess, happen from actually like wealth management to, I guess, like fundraising, right?
Oh, so interesting. Okay, so we'll go back a little bit more. So basically, as a wealth manager, you basically invest in the capital market. So things like mutual funds and private equity and real estate funds and others. Just basically retirement and income generating assets. So all about asset management and how to diversify your portfolio and how to build some good wealth management, healthy wealth management practice for the client. So a lot of the planning and the financial planning aspects. So I started there, and then in 2008, when the big crash in America happened, I was just in the middle of raising a lot of capital and networking, and I was just a new wealth advisor, and it's I built trust with these people. And then suddenly the trust was broken because Bank of America bought a Merrill Lynch, and this entire thing broke. But because I executed and I was very, very good in what I did, I actually got an offer to go to work for Wachovia Securities, which was Wells Fargo later on. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly I had people coming to me in the banking side, and I was able to just, I was smiling and dialing before and convincing people or networking, and now I have people coming to me. So I was focusing on helping people. So, and I grew really, really fast by do that. And every 6 months, I basically moved to another position in wealth, and it was very, very fun. Up to the point that I managed like a big regional private banking side in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania, and I was really, really focused on helping business owners. I loved helping business owners and listening to them, and everyone have a different challenge in their business, and I found myself helping them with their lending capabilities or their investment or other things. And then I realized that in order for them to grow, they always needs to build more network of investors. They have to build more relationship. And I was this guy that, oh, I know this CPA, you should talk to this guy. Oh, I know this investor, you should talk to this guy. Oh, this guy is a very good scientist, he can help you to this company. So I was always in the movement of connecting. And I think one of my skills is being able to connect people together. And I see this dot. I think it's built in,
I think so
but
too.
when you focus on others and you give value to others all the time, you start building around you some phenomenal community of people that always want to pick up the phone for you, because you always provided them value in the past, and just it's just growing like that. And then Wells Fargo did what Wells Fargo did and grew, and there was some issues that happened in the bank there that I didn't agree with, and I got an offer to go and open from scratch a private bank. So I got a big offer to go to open a private bank for this commercial bank that just did like retail stuff in banking, and I got this opportunity to go and open a private bank from scratch. I found an office in Princeton, brought people, and again, build the pitch, build the message, and what you gotta do. And I had to create, as an entrepreneur, a whole different business structure around that. So I focus on private schools, for example, and I start lending money for the private schools in Princeton, and tap into the foundation and the families. And I build my network through that. I did really well for the bank that at the end of the day, they sold this piece of the business, and I found myself, all right, so I built for them a great business. Now, what about me? And then that was like around 2015, and I got an interesting offer from an Israeli company by name. They're called Nano Dimension. This is how I started with the capital raising for tech and pharma. They did like 3D printing. They did like these printed circuit boards for printers, and they printed it with a nano ink, something very, very smart. And they came to me for 250K capital raise, and because they knew that I knew a lot of high net worth and family offices. And this journey took me, and we were raised for them at the end like close to $10 million. And they went public into the NASDAQ, and then people start hearing about me, and I got myself into a very interesting deal flow. They to come to me from Israel, and I start executing. And I will say I learned the skills on my back. I have a lot of good scratches on my back from how to do that. So there were some amazing capital raising activities, and some of them that I just learned that it doesn't help always to have an amazing technology. It depends how the people in front of this technology looks like, and how they talk, and how they position, and how they able to connect with investors or with strategic partners. So this is something that we should maybe go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and actually that ties in great to some of these questions. So I do want to hit this, and that's, I mean, I
I
totally
got
agree.
questions too. So
You hit on something. You hit on something right there that I think is perfect. And of course, as you mentioned it, like Jacob on LinkedIn mentioned about, kind of expanding upon the neuroscience and how you present yourself to others. And I think that really ties into what Zane said also on LinkedIn. His question was, how do you build trust off the bat? Do you think it was all down to your listening skills, or did you target just the right kind of firms and individuals or whatever? But I want to, again, even further than that, I think something that gets missed is, when you walk in the door, you've been judged already from the beginning. So when you walk in the door, if your posture is wrong, again, I'm not saying anyone's going to go, oh man, we really wanted to loan that guy money, but his posture didn't. They're not going to say that, but all the little things add up, right? Again, seriously, if a guy smells bad, just saying, like, that's going to be a topic of conversation when that person leaves. They're like, oh man, we really liked him. Yeah, but can we really be around that smell for like the next however long? Like that's important thing when you walk in a door. And I think that's where the neuroscience side of it really comes in, is it's all these little, like, you got micro expressions and posture and all these things that really go into it that people maybe don't consider. I mean, yes, how you dress, absolutely, that has something to do with it. That doesn't mean you have to always wear a suit and tie, but you want to be presentable. You don't ever want whatever you're doing to be a detractor. So you never want it to be like if someone was putting up a pros and a cons column or a good and a bad column, you don't want that bad column should not be filling up with smells and, looks and posture. That shouldn't have any of that stuff. Maybe it goes in like the neutral column where it's like, didn't notice it. All right, cool, we're good. Let's move on. So I guess the questions with that is like, how important is that, like how you present yourself and building trust right off the bat, and what's the, what are some of the things maybe you've seen that are good and bad maybe in that side of things?
So that's a great example. I think if we look at this today, I think one of the biggest skills today that we all needs to have as an entrepreneurs is, I will say it, especially in today life, all right? It's being able to network, to connect, and two is to be able to pitch what we say in a way that is very, very direct, trusted, and
I
go
like the
through
word
that.
digestible, where people can understand what you're saying. They can actually digest what you're telling them.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to be clear with the messaging, but definitely the look, right? And it's like going to your wedding, all right? Like you go to meet investors, he's gonna give you $5 million for your baby, all right?
Right.
You don't want to look like the best suits ever. You don't want to
Sure.
wear like sandals and just like, oh, I don't care about you. You know what I mean? Like they feel it, all right? It's like how
Yep.
they present. Is that this is, and we can talk about the mind, all right? And what I do a lot with my CEOs that I coach on capital raising, is that we talk about the mind a little bit, how we basically perceive information, all right? Because the crocodile brain will right away will go say, all right, who's this guy that asking me for money, all right? Do I like him? Do I want to fuck him? Do I want to love him? What do I want to do with him? Yes, like what's the things that's happening here? Do I need to be scared of him? He's gonna steal my money. Can I? There's a lot of decisions. There's a lot of emotions, and if you don't come with this mindset, prepared mindset before to the room, and you looking at the room and you perceive energy into this room that I will win here. I'm your prize. Okay, if you don't, shape your mindset from a place that I'm the prize for these venture funds right now to win the best deal of life, all right? And you coming like this, listen, I have a good investment for you, or you coming, I'm your prize.
got a
I'm the
unicorn.
best deal. I'm the best deal that you will have this year, all right? There's a whole different vibration to it, all right? And we're talking about energy here, but the energy and the mindset of the founders are so important, all right?
Yep.
You have to be the magnet of the crowd when you come to position your deal. So it's a lot of like, maintaining and training yourself to be in this energy that when you come to the room, you can talk the talk and you can position the things that your company is all about and the order of the subject. Okay, so I met so many entrepreneurs that's coming and they talking in the first few minutes, all right, and it's all about, oh, we do an AI in blah 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 and the science blah, 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 and then they throw on you so much information that your brain stop listening, all right, and then you lose attention, and
Yep.
then they think that they gave the best speech of their life, all right, but no one cared, all right, because they lost them, all right. They didn't listen to the investors of what they cared. They didn't do the homework of what this investor just did. And I think it's focusing on the people that will give you the money. Okay, at the end of the day, a big focus on that is really understand. All right, if I'm going to a venture capital that have, let's take an opportunity here that I'm working on right now. I do right now a memory card. All right, the future of memory card. It's an amazing company that basically you will hear about this deal pretty quick. But it's one of the biggest founders in memory chips that came from Israel, and right now we're working on the next generation. So we all working right now on how to position the information. It's like the technology is huge, right? It's milliseconds of like, it's like moving from DRAM to the future of the memory card. But at the end of the day, you have to break down the information so people can understand and relate really quickly.
They got to
Okay,
digest it, man.
Uh,
they have to digest it in a way, and simple
Yeah,
is better.
that's right.
So I just want to real quick. I want to rapid fire it because we've been getting a ton of questions. Plus, I got a ton of questions. We're halfway through the
Beautiful.
session. I don't know if we're gonna get to it all.
I'm here
So
for
real
this
quick,
community, and we can do that even more. I just
you might
want
have to
to
do a
help
part
people
two.
today. Yeah.
Love it. So first rapid. This is my personal question. I want to know is what are three things you have to do today before you really start approaching these investors?
Beautiful. So I would say the messaging, okay? Understand what is that you really want to change, all right, in the industry. And understand really well who's playing in your sandbox. Because one of the first questions of investors is that you did your homework or not, okay? And if they throw on you one company that play in your sandbox and you don't know, it's already,
You don't know your
you're losing
market.
points, okay? They lose points because you don't know your competitions. Number two, number two is who's in your team, okay? Number two is who's in your team and how is the team basically ingrained together? Like what's the collaboration between the team and what each of the person in the team um, do in order to make it successful, okay? Um, I would say how you organize with your information. Okay, so if you throw me a deck that say all different things and all different big ideas, or we're the next Uber of something, okay, or we're the next Google of something, and you're just a little startup, all right, they just started, it's like very immature way to say what you do, okay? I think passion needs to come across really well. Is that you do something from genuine place and not just from coming to make money, because they all understand it. All these investors, if you have passion, you will have resilience to stand through this process. Okay, so the passion have to come out is the why you do what you do. Okay, if why
The
you
why.
do is only
Yep.
to make money, then you will not get funded.
Yeah,
If
that's the
you will get,
investors' why, not the
yes,
founders' why.
yes, exactly.
That's
But
right.
take for example, again, I'll go back again to WeWork, all right? Because Adam didn't go to the investors with a standpoint of, oh, I want money to be rich, okay? He said, I want to change the future of how people work.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
was focusing on that, and he was going crazy on that, and he was saying it all day long, okay? That's why he got funded, because he was so ambitious about solving this problem. So what I say to any founder is that really understand your why are you doing it, okay? And then if this is a bigger why that you have, then let's put the best team possible with you to help you to solve this, okay? So I would
Beautiful.
say this is a very, there's a lot of things here.
Yeah, team, market, passion, top three. So, because like I said, lots of questions. Want to go as fast as we can
Yeah.
through these. So, I'm gonna limit down. We gave three for what to do, but now I want to know what to avoid. What is the biggest mistake that you see these founders, entrepreneurs coming in with when pitching investors, or even outreaching, or whatever the case, in the whole entire life cycle of it? What's the biggest mistake that you think they all need to avoid and brought to their awareness?
Look, there's a lot. Okay, there's
But
like
there can
like
only be one
like
big
all
one.
day long, like all day long, I see mistakes and mistakes, mistake. And I hear pitches and I hear, wow, if you just tweak it like this, all right. So I see great guys, all right, and I'm saying people that are serial entrepreneurs, they do these mistakes, okay. Uh, but at the end of the day, is confidence in what you do. We're going back again to the mindset. All right. If you don't think that you will win here, why do you think this investor will put his money into your company? Okay. So it's a lot of inner game. All right. It's a lot of inner game because sometimes people come with issues with confidence about what they do. All right. And they expect to get funded. All right. So work on your certainty about what you do. Okay. This is one. Neediness. All right. Neediness is what it's
I
like.
could
Think
just see
about,
right through it.
you can take
At
this
first.
metaphor. You can take this metaphor is that right now you want to date this court. You walking in Miami, and you see this gorgeous blonde girl that you want to approach, and you come with no confidence. All right. So, or you go with too much neediness. Oh, let me buy you this. Let me do this. We'll go. The neediness part, or if they sense that you really need money to survive, you will not get the money. All right, and
It's that
it's like a
scarcity
fine
mindset.
line. There's like a thin line here of if they sense the vibration, I'm about to die. No one wants to invest in someone that is about to die,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Bingo.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Makes
so
sense.
if you need to go to the gym to work 4 hours about yourself and do 100 push-ups before the meetings and pump yourself up and listen to feel great about what you do, this is what you have to do. Okay. You
Align your
cannot come
chakras.
with neediness. All right. Number three. All right. Again, is like the suit that you wear, all right, is your pitch deck, all right, and how you put your information together and putting things in the presentation that are like doesn't make sense, all right, or things that are you just make it up, all right, or statistic that not even exist because everybody can Google machine today. Yes, everybody can ask ChatGPT about how to do things that in 2 seconds you can tell this is a real deal, this is a fake deal. All right. And believe me, we all have now, after 20 years in this business, very good nose. All right.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
smell. And believe me, the venture capital funds that have billions of dollars, they have a very, very good nose. All right. So you want to come to step up into the dimension, all right, of the investors and understand how they think. All right. And this is something that you need to understand. How they look at your deal, what kind of question they will ask you,
Hmm.
how to be prepared to answer these questions in the right order. And if they ask you something, you should answer them directly to their question. Because if you're going to go and answer something else, that says you're not focused on them.
Yep.
All right, because you're trying to come up with excuses. You want to say all the worst stuff that happened in your industry, and you want to say to them all the worst things that happened to you in the process of figuring out how to solve this problem. And people trying to avoid that. Oh, everything is great, everything is sweet, everything is beautiful. No, it's not, because in order to solve a big problem that's going to generate a lot of revenue at the end of the
You
day
take
with the
issues.
solution, there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of issues, and if you don't talk about the issues and the challenges, the investors will feel that you are not authentic, they cannot
100%.
trust you, and you're not going to get funding. All right, so you can have a beautiful presentation, but then when you talk and you're not authentic, it's not going to work. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that goes into that.
They're
All
investing
right.
in people.
Yeah.
The
So
investing in the people, exactly. Go ahead.
we
Go
have
ahead,
we have
Joe.
just so many questions, and we aren't going to get to them
I
all
know I
just
got a
because
couple of good ones here I wanted to ask.
yeah,
So you
and
go ahead.
I mean even the chat. I know this one could be very short, kind of random, but they wanted to get your opinion on precious metals as an investment. Just curious if you have an insight on that.
So it's interesting. Precious metals are because the uncertainty sometimes in the market, you know, gold and silver and all the good stuff is been there. We are not focusing on gold and silver so much. Most of the family offices that I work with, it's part of their asset allocation. It's part of their alternative asset allocation. Some of them hold really interesting positions in Switzerland. Some of them have just investing in funds. I would say it needs to be part of your alternative investment portfolio. And you have to do a lot of due diligence. Who do you give your money to? Okay.
All right, I got a good one.
Go for
I
it.
like actually I like this one from this was from Anton in
Anton,
Discord.
this is a good one. Yeah.
Yes, because I'm wondering like at what point is it stalkerish vibes, right? So like basically the question is if you're looking at pitching to a bunch of investors, you're going to them basically with your pitch. Like how deep are you going to do your prep work? Like are you looking up their friends and taking their friends to coffee? That's like almost stalkerish vibes to me. That feels like a little bit too far, but like how far is too far? And or do you just go, you know what? I'm pitching to 30 people. One of them's going to take it. I don't need to do any extra work. Like what's the balance there?
It's a good question. Again, it depends on the type of group, right? So I
Okay.
in the last 20 years, I basically travel all across the world to meet family offices, all right? So I took time and energy to really figure out how investors think and how family offices thinks when they come to make investments, how private equity groups makes investments, how venture capital funds did investment, and I actually took myself and moved my entire life to Silicon Valley to hang out with the Silicon Valley guys, all right, to really figure it out how they think, how they make investment. I joined different investment committees, but at the end of the day, it's different personalities. Okay, so family offices are different kind of groups. All right, they are very conservative. They they care about their information. Like if you start digging into their best friends or the best friend of their wife or whatever, yeah, if they maybe will feel a little bit interference, yeah. If you are someone that is made a huge development in different industry and you're someone that they can learn from, all right, they want to talk to you. Yes, so definitely reach out. Okay, if you are there to provide value, if you dare to educate them, then definitely you want to reach out to their friends so they can say, this guy is smart, all right? I learned something from him today. So people like to work with people that provide that wants to give, all right? And this is something if somebody can take from this call today, is that you want to educate your investors, all right? If you come with your pitch, okay, and I learned something new about technology or the future of where we're going through the pitch that I just listened to, and you, if I'm focusing on, let's say, cybersecurity, and you just with your pitch deck that you showed me today, you showed me something that I didn't know that can make a big impact in my industry. I want to be I want to bring you as my advisor, and I want to give you money just for you to be around. I don't care about you. I just want you around me. All right.
Right.
That's why I will invest in you. And I saw so many investments like this of venture funds that I brought them some technology companies in all different industries. For example, I raised a large agri-tech and food tech fund. All right. One of the major investor was Temasek, is a big investor from Singapore. And few of the families that I brought in just wanted to learn about the food tech and ag tech business. Okay. So they wanted to put their money with smart founders in that space so they can teach them about this market. Okay. So if you are a founder and you can become to be the educator and don't think about the outcome of how much money I'm going to raise, you're gonna get raised. You're gonna get funded because you're focusing on them. You want to teach them. You want to give them value. And if you make this shift in your brain when you come across an investor, you will perceive so different than other founders that came and just said, "Oh, listen, you have to invest in my deals because da 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 da." All right. They don't have to invest in you. All right. If they learn something new from you, then they will want you to be around. All right, I don't know if that helps. Now, this group that you spoke about digging into their network, there needs.
It's probably someone calling, looking to pitch. Looking to pitch.
Oh,
It wasn't
definitely
me.
wants to pitch them. Look
Somebody
at
ready
them.
to pitch. That's right.
Exactly. Yes, somebody wants a service. So I would say this is one thing that we should definitely focus on is like uh, their mindset, be a giver, all right, and be able to do the right thing for the investors. At the end of the day, the investors are your biggest shareholders. Is like your family, and you have to take care of them.
Yeah.
And if you don't give them the right attention, they will disappear.
Beautiful. I'm selfish question. I know that we got a bunch that we're probably,
Go
I
ahead.
hope
Go
we get
ahead.
to it, but
It's
we are
just
going
for
to
you,
probably do
Joe.
the
It's
part.
just for you here
Yeah.
today.
So AI changed
AI.
pretty much everything in the world right now. And
Yes.
even recently, an AI company, Mistral, raised a 4 week old startup raised over 100 million euros off a pitch memo, which from my understanding, when it comes down to fundraising, like your weapon of choice is the pitch deck.
Yes.
So what's like I mean not that I know what the difference is, but nowadays, especially how different fundraising is, you don't need 100 employees to raise. What like pre-revenue, post-revenue, especially how building a company is completely different these days. Like, what are your thoughts? Fundraising happens, raising capital happens. What are your thoughts in the sense like when is a good choice to use a pitch memo versus a pitch deck, right? Love to hear your thoughts on that.
Perfect. So I will say for look, if you're a serial entrepreneur, all right, that sold a company for $1 billion, right, in your space. So for example, I worked with uh, entrepreneurs that basically he sold the company for in the cybersecurity space for Palo Alto network, all right, for a lot of money. He was working in Palo Alto for a few years just to keep himself there. All right. So that's the agreement that they had when they sold. And he was already building his next one. Okay. So, and he came with the same team that actually executed. And now they're going to solve a big problem that they really figure it out. They will get funded with a memo. All right. Because this is a proven team. This is someone that actually know how to do it, and they can execute pretty quickly, and they can go to the market really really fast. This is the guys that I would say don't need pitch deck, right? Because it's a relationship base. This is
Yeah.
investors that basically invested in the last company that they had. They already proved that. All right, this is here. All right, now let's talk about the type of founders that we have. All right. I just came out of college. All right. And I have a great idea and I want to do a dating app. All right. Like a lot of these guys that have a dating app. All right.
Yep.
Because so they want to do the dating app and now they have no idea how financial model looks like. They don't know what is pro forma. They don't know how
What
to
term
build
sheet is?
sales operations. They don't know marketing. They maybe learn pretty well how to do some computer science in school, but that's it. All right. Is someone that need pitch deck? Yes. Is someone
Definitely.
that need a lot of team around him to help him on different areas that he's not so strong at?
For
Yes.
sure.
All right. Is this someone that you will give him your budget first? No. If the serial entrepreneur will come here
Right.
and he already executed, who are you gonna give the money, right? So this is a very so this is something that you want to think about, and then you have the guy who worked in Cisco or in Intel, and he was like third or second in command, all right?
Hmm.
And he was executing big mergers and acquisition companies, and he did the big deals for the company. Is very very smart on how to do things in the corporate world,
Right.
right? And I say that again in the corporate world, because when you go to become to be a serial entrepreneur, you think it's like that. You don't have the budget. You don't have the expenses. You cannot travel like you want to travel and go meet people. And you don't have the brand in front of you. But it depends who you brought with you to do that. So again, on this scenario, you want to have a pitch deck. You want to be able to have the financial model. Let's talk about the things that you really need in your pitch deck. All right. So who you
Problem.
are, your story. All right. Like I would say, the big idea. If you don't know, if you don't know how to say your big idea in 150 to 200 words, all right, in the 2 minutes, then you lost me. Okay, and this is the first thing that you need to know is like, I'm right now solving, uh, I'll give you an example, right? So right now I'm solving the memory chip problem. Okay, so if there's a big, so I'm going to talk about the what's happening in the world, and how, what's the situation, and what need to be happen, and that why we are the solution to your problem. Okay, and then we should explain key features about about what we do. We should explain the model of how we make money very clearly. Okay, and then we should show performa. All right, this is how we're gonna make money. This is who we target first, and we are someone. Okay, this is another thing for the founders. If you solving a small problem, most of the chances it's going to be very easy, it's very hard for you to get funding. Okay, from the venture funds. If you're solving a big problem and you know how to tackle it, and you did your research and you brought the right people to solve this problem, then most of the chances you will have much higher success of raising capital. So, but let's talk about, the big idea, the passion about what you do, the ability to show investors the outcome of your business model, who you target first, your proof of concept, your financial models needs to be strong. Okay, if you don't know how to structure your financial models, this is the first thing that investors looking at. All right, how's your financials model looks like? How's your revenue model looks like? How much money you're gonna spend? If you don't know how to explain that, that's already no, right? So all of that component needs to happen. All right, how you speak, how you pitch, the deck, the financial models, coaching yourself, and then being able to be out there in the community of your industry. So let's say you want to bring the first 5 big clients, all right? And you don't network in these conferences, and you don't go to the speakers of, like, let's say you want to talk to the CEO of Samsung, all right? You go to the conference, you see him speaking, and you go to him, all right? And you tell him what you do. You have to be able to network and to pitch in the same time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely. Yes,
So
sir.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. Maybe it's a quick one. I don't know. You go ahead. You want to take it, Joe?
Go ahead.
I know mine aren't going to be quick. So
I just wanted to
know,
ask
I
this,
see
this
Ophir's.
question from Ophir. I wanted to ask the very last
Gotcha.
one, this right here, because I think it's important, and it's just, what is negotiable on a term sheet? Like, what can you negotiate? Is it just dollars, or is there other things that are negotiable? And we can keep this one kind of short, because I know Joe's got some other ones. But what can be negotiated?
Valuation can be negotiated, right? The type of, it depends again on the investors. If you go to private investors and angel investors, usually they will not ask for a board seat, all right? They just will want to give you money and get a share of your company. And it depends again how good is this investors. I will say there's not always happy money. I call it happy money, sad money, all right? You want to be on the happy money side, all
You
right?
want happy money. Yeah. Sad
You want
money
happy
doesn't
money.
have
You want
Money's
happy
more fun.
investors, because
That's right.
you can be an amazing CEO and everything, and then you attracted the wrong investors in your company. I can tell you again, it's hell, right?
vampires
It's
sucking your life.
vampires calling you in the middle of the night while you with your kids in vacation, whatever, and they're like, "Where's my money?" All right, and they stress you out, and then you can't think and you can't execute. All right, so it's again, you have to know what you want to bring in. So negotiating terms, that's okay. Negotiating board seats, negotiating valuations. it depends again your status of the company, and sometimes you will reduce some valuation in order to bring more money in. Okay,
Right.
so I
Right.
so I saw situations where there was some art in the game. All right, I brought and one investors, and I told him, and I qualify him to really understand what kind of other investors he wants to see next to him, and I identified that for him, and then I brought him someone like that, and then I coached this investor how this investor like to see things, and then you have to give them in the same, you have to put them in the same mindset, all right? And then lawyers come in and they fight a little bit and they get things together, all right? But that's negotiation, all right? Look, I say on valuations today, it's a fight, all right? Um, just because of the current environment right now is very, very tough for startups to raise capital, and I see companies in $550 million valuation that they had just a year and a half ago now raising
Re-rate
$480
100 million.
million, all
Yeah,
right?
I see that too. It's crazy.
See that? So, but they have to do that in order to survive. Okay, so talk about negotiating. Okay, what else?
So Ophir also back to back on great questions, but I want to jump in and really talk about building financial models as it relates to a company that's pre-revenue and raising, like on the deck and stuff. What are some like? I mean, do you really go all in on financial projections when it onto the deck pre-revenue? Because I mean, we all know projections are never right. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to build projections. I'm a multi-billion-dollar company in 2 years. It's like, So how much weight does that really have on these decks? And then I think we'll end up closing out most likely with Ophir's question, which is a great question.
Yeah.
Yes. So look, projections again. It's a good question about how to do it. So I will say, be authentic with it. All right. Don't don't say things that you will not be able, right? Do you think that you will not be able to execute? Yeah, there things, there's market, there's things that happen, but on the projection side, you want to be authentic and be realistic about what you actually can do. If A happen, all right. Um, I would say investors understand that if you are in a specific situation and you can solve this, you can be this mega star company. A lot of investors as well invest in you because they want to they know that you are fundable and that you will be able to raise in a different valuation next time. Okay, so they're already protecting their investment like this. So don't just stuck on the projection. Say things that are realistic, all right? Because if you say things that are not realistic, it's already thank you, all right? They will delete your pitch and they will say it was a great presentation, but you will not hear from them, all right?
Right. Right.
Hasta luego.
That's right.
Let's,
Yeah.
Brett, you want to take Ophir's question?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got a really good question here. I mean, obviously, people that are getting pitched to regularly, they're going to see maybe a lot of the same stuff. They kind of fall in kind of the same categories, and they become numb to it maybe at some point. And really, the question is about kind of being different. Like, what are the benefits when being different when pitching? And I guess what does that mean? What does being different mean? Is that again, we had a brief chat in LinkedIn about it just now over text. Is that like nationality or gender or age and background? There's all these different things that can be
Eccentric.
different. Yeah, eccentric, which was something I mentioned. If you're in the tech space, but is everyone eccentric in the tech space?
Pretty
Maybe.
nowadays.
Aren't all
Everyone's
billionaires
weird.
eccentric anyway? So like it's is this something that is there a huge benefit to this, and if so, what is it? And what are the different types of things that maybe it is beneficial to be?
I I love this question because I think at the end of the day, you have to put yourself in the investor's hat, all right? All these investors, they want to make money. And how do they make money? By becoming to be an entrepreneur, all right? So they
Right.
understand the challenges, all right? They understand where they came from and how they were able to change their mind to become to be where they are, all right? So I would say being different is you don't have to make yourself someone else or trying to be someone else or to dress like someone else or to say like or to talk like Elon Musk, right?
Right.
You want to be you
That's right.
with so much passion about what you do and to feel this resilience from you, this certainty that you are here to solve a problem and you don't fall asleep because you want to solve this. I don't know if one of you read Think and Grow Rich, right? Book. It's a great book, yeah. But I go back to it all the time, to read it because there's such a
It's not
basic
yeah.
fundamentals there that says if you're persistent, and I feel it, the energy from you that you are persistent to go to the next level, all right? This is where you want to be. And everybody's trying to be an entrepreneurs and wear the same shirt as they saw another entrepreneur that just raised $100 million, and they will look
Black
exactly
turtleneck?
like him and will fix his hair like this and will talk like him with this his jargons and words. No, be you. Be the authentic founder that went through the challenge, and his wife threw him out from the house and he got up again and he did. Tell the stories, be authentic. They love to hear that you woke up and you didn't give up and you did it again and again and again. They buy you, they buy your personality. Don't try to be someone else. Bring your passion out, coach yourself on it. Take someone like me or someone else that really can help you put your mind together so you can be a CEO that can fund his company in all different stages. And I will say another thing that founders need to think about. All right, again, not all money is good money. Okay, smart money is a good money. Okay, happy money is a good money. You want to evaluate the investors like they evaluate you. All right, because I saw wonderful companies coming into this space and get crushed, and the life of the CEO went to different places just because of bad investors. And it's like life, there's good people and bad people, and people that will promise you things. So use people to do due diligence on the investors. I use my broker dealer and investment bank to do due diligence on these people and do look at the investors and choose the right investors for your company. Help you to build a cap table on a healthy standpoint, because sometimes you maybe raise now money, but the next round it's going to be very difficult for you to raise capital because you brought someone that have bad name in the market. Okay, so that's a lot of things that we can talk about, but it needs a few more sessions, I think.
Yeah, definitely need a follow up on
Yep.
this. It's really funny when you're talking about being different. Don't like dress like the other people. All I thought in my head was Elizabeth Holmes with her black turtleneck, just like which is she's completely
Right.
blacklisted. No one
Right,
will
right,
ever
right.
invest in her.
Yeah, yeah.
The next Steve Jobs. I'm like, yeah, don't
Yeah.
go into investor meetings with a black turtleneck.
No.
Thinking
Look
you're
again. I'll bring Adam Newman again. He was a kibbutznik. He came from a kibbutz from Israel, and he just felt like walking without shoes out there in New York. So he was
sounds like
different,
a
all right.
weird.
But it was him, all right. He didn't try to be someone else, all right. So that's one thing. So don't be different. Be you, all right.
Love it, man. Man, Erez, you're putting the fun in fundraising. I gotta say,
Listen,
This guy.
I learned it on my own. It's like a lot of challenges that you have to solve. What is the key here to open this key of funding? So I figure it out, and I can help founders today, in few sessions to train their mind in a way that they can go to the next level and become to be these badass CEOs that investors like and want to fund in the next round. And we have a platform today that we can really automate all of this capital raising, how to find the right targeted investor list, how to do even, interviews like this can be very interesting to do, how to interview the founders and bring some key, key talent from the company and interview them and educate the investors even before you coming with a pitch, and just try to engage in a different way from an education standpoint, from being authentic, from building trust with these investors, and follow up on what you promised for the investors.
I think speaking of finding, this is a great time to ask, where should we find you? Where should people find you if they want to reach out to you?
plug those
Yes.
socials.
Yeah,
Yes,
well, yeah,
exactly. So inotechib.com. You can look me up on LinkedIn. Erez Hevroni, Erez, Hevroni, Hevroni. Erez at inotechib.com. I can put it in the chat so you can send it to everyone. And I'm really looking forward. My mission today, after all these years of training and raising capital for companies and fund and working with family offices and working with private equity and venture funds, my goal today is to make a big impact in for serial entrepreneurs, for founders, for people who just starting in this business, in giving them this one platform and the right training to help them to solve this big task of raising capital.
awesome. Well, it's been great, man. I definitely
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you coming on, your time. It's been awesome, so insightful from the
Appreciate
beginning,
it.
from the very actually even before we started the session. That it wasn't live, so other people couldn't see it, but jumped right in here in the studio in the backstage, I guess you want to call it, and there was already value coming in, so I knew it was gonna be a hot session, man. So
Beautiful.
super, very much appreciate it, man. Great
Thank you
job.
so much. I appreciate you guys. Keep
Absolutely,
Hopefully we get
Joe.
making a big impact. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think
Joe, what you
next
got
time we're
for us?
gonna need. Yeah, I just think next time we're gonna need some screen shares, maybe like a
Yes,
workshop, because this conversation was great. But I know you
Beautiful.
definitely got resources to break stuff
absolutely.
down.
And
So
I'm looking forward to come back and make and train the entire community of furlough. Keep doing great job.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys.
Let's just add on question after question. Everyone, just get those questions ready for next time. And then speaking of next time, I think I'm being interviewed next week. Does that sound right?
you're yes,
Somebody's
the theme of
interviewing
the
me.
week
Yeah,
is
look at that.
management.
So
I will be
teaser.
interviewing you,
Is it
sir.
you doing it? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
I-
Of course. Yeah. No. Next week, it is actually going to be me. It's going to be my episode. So I'll be the guest next week. COO of Latency and a bunch of other things that we'll talk about, I'm sure. So Joe and Ophir have graciously volunteered to be the guest on or the host on that one. I guess you would say co-host. I don't, however you want to do it. That'll be called Bridging the Gap: Excelling in Hybrid People Management.
Ooh.
I have a ton of experience with is people management over the years. So look forward to talking about that next week. And again, yeah, the link is dropped here. We'll drop this in LinkedIn as well. Make sure the Erez at inotech-ib.com is dropped everywhere. And again, appreciate Erez for coming on.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
for
guys.
hosting.
This was
Absolutely
wonderful.
awesome. And we'll see everyone next time, either here or in the Discord, of course, discord.gg/forlow, where you can find all of us hanging out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye
Yep,
bye.
appreciate everyone.
Bye.
See you guys next time.
Cheers. He just left.